Up Creators and Level Up Creator School. I'm our Director of Operations, and Amanda Northcutt is our CEO. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your day to spend with us. We're going to be talking more about sales and how not to scare your clients away. So, thank you so much for joining. If you have questions at any point in time, please drop them in the chat and we will stop what we're talking about and get those answered ASAP. If you have not met us, there are two ways that we help thought leaders and coaches and consultants build rock solid recurring revenue businesses. The first is Level Up Creators, and this is our done for you white glove consulting firm, and this includes our MRR Accelerator program. The second is Level Up Creator School, and this is where we help a global group of thought leaders, consultants, and coaches build business with a done with you model, and it includes access to our consulting team and our consulting methodology in a way that we used to exclusively hold for our clients. We are now sharing with the whole school. So feel free to check that out. I will drop some links in the chat. Okay, first let's do an update of our accelerator program because we now have two cohorts going. So where are we both at with those, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm going to try and talk really close to my microphone today because everything is in full bloom here in Northern Colorado and my allergies are just trying to kill me. So, um, yeah, we're in month 5 of cohort 1, the guys that started in January, and we're cranking along. And it's like I've been using this analogy. We've been like farming, right? We've been farming this whole time and like planting seeds and building relationships and making new connections and creating amazing content and starting newsletters and running campaigns and partnerships and all these things. And so our full expectation is that we will have like a harvest, that the farming works and our methodology works, and that we will hit these MRR guarantees in month 7 for the entire cohort. So we're really, really excited leading up to that. Because obviously that means like really big, significant life changes for everyone involved. So that's great. And then cohort 2 started on May 12th. And so we're just beginning week 3 here today. And this week, those participants will receive their audits. So it's kind of a level set of here's everything that's going on in your business from all the different angles that we look at in the MRR method, and, kind of all reflected back to each individual. And the audits are so that we have kind of like a stamp in time almost of here's exactly what's going on, again, through the lens of the MRR method, so that we have something to compare to at the end of the accelerator. And it's so cool to see how far like you go in a 7-month period. But it's more to ensure that our team deeply understands each individual participant's business. I mean, on a very, very intimate level, we kind of take this no stone untouched approach. And yeah, just excited to reflect everyone's sort of business back to them, along with a little hint of the vision for what's coming. And then next week we deliver these North Star documentation documents, which I'm sure we'll hit on next week. But it is getting real here in terms of the business planning. Natalie and I, Natalie's our principal consultant for this second cohort. We have spent hours and hours and hours having these amazing conversations behind all of our participants' backs. And just like big time dreaming, like how far can we take this, and what does it look like to totally stop playing small and live into your full potential and move toward this role as an author, speaker, and advisor for each of our participants.
Yeah. Okay, jumping into the sales stuff. So, you talk about how great sales calls aren't about persuasion, they're about helping clients convince themselves. What does that shift look like in practice, and how does it change the overall dynamic of the call?
Yeah. So if you've heard me talk about sales lately at all, I've talked about just matchmaking. If you have extraordinary clarity around who you are and who you serve and how you serve them. So we can talk about positioning and ICP and methodology and frameworks and all those things. But if you have extraordinary clarity around those things and you have committed to stop being all things to all people and reinventing the wheel for each client, and just being a yes man or woman, frankly, and just like do whatever is asked because like, well, I feel like I can do that and I need to make money. No, we're getting really, really, really clear on positioning and the painful, pervasive, urgent, expensive problems that you are uniquely equipped to solve for a specific subset of the population. So when you have clarity around those things, you really are just matchmaking. You know exactly who is right for you and who you're right for. And it makes the sales piece just kind of completely go away because you're just asking questions to clarify, like, is this the right person or is this not the right person? And if not, that's cool. You should be the first one to speak up and tell them and try and, send them along their way in the right direction and hopefully can connect them with someone else in your network. But if they are the right fit, that's great because then you can tell them you're the right fit for this, and this reason. And you've got, a library of like customer stories that you're bringing in and sprinkling in throughout your sales process. Once you know with at least, preliminary level of certainty that this person seems to be the right fit for you and that you will actually be able to help them. Because in these kinds of businesses online, like our reputation is our currency. And so it's so imperative that you do a great, great, great job for your clients. And when you have clarity around who you are, who they are, how you solve their problems, and your go to market strategy, and a couple other things like that, it's so much easier to create consistently excellent results because you are using, productized services, again, not reinventing the wheel. You're solving very similar or the same problems for the same or similar type of persona. And so that repeatability bit, and you beginning to establish a reputation for being the person who does this for these people so that they can, and then, quick descriptor around values, outcomes, and transformation.
Yeah. One of your big like frameworks is show your clients the cost of doing nothing. What's a smart, non-pushy way to surface that during a sales conversation?
Yeah. So some really important questions to ask are: one, you want your prospective client to describe the problem in their own words, and so that you understand it better. And so that, again, you can, in the back of your mind, your brain is calculating, like, is this a match or is it not a match? And then you want them to, after they describe the problem, okay, can you tell me a little bit more about what you have done in the past to try and solve this problem? And so that way you are, again, sussing out information that will help you determine if it's a fit or not. And it will also help you not recommend the same things that they've already tried, at least before you really, really probe and get a deep understanding of exactly what they did, so that you're not, again, asking them to repeat the same mistake. And then you want them to, in business speak, so we're talking about typically KPIs, key performance indicators, define for you, what is this problem costing the business and what does that mean to you personally? So we're getting the quantitative piece of what that means, and then more of a qualitative foundational desires piece when you're asking them, and what does that mean for you? It could mean that they are losing respect, they're going to potentially not get the promotion that they were going to have, maybe their job is on the line, maybe their team is losing trust in them. So there's like, this is all multifaceted. It's never just a black and white business problem because you're dealing with a human, right? And so we want to make sure that there's a strong human element here. And I am speaking through the lens specifically on B2B sales. Even if you're speaking to the founder, or, if it's a company of 5 people or something like that, you're still looking for that same information. You need to understand the person you're speaking to on Zoom calls or whatever is very likely what will be labeled as your internal champion. So if they're not the CEO and they do have to go through a layer of, budget permission, basically get authority, or get permission to get some spend for whatever you're asking them to spend, then you need to make sure that you are equipping them with the right information to go, and if you can't speak to the decision maker yourself, that you are equipping the champion to go and speak to the decision maker. And that's more like the KPI piece. That's what the CEO or the CFO are really, really, really going to care about. But then you, once you've established that this is the right fit, you're going to want to make sure that you are helping this individual who is your internal champion, who has brought you in, who you're going to be working closely with, that you make them look really good too, that you ensure that they're going to get that promotion and earn the respect of their colleagues, and, maybe get whatever, some award or something like that that's important to them at their company. And so it's really important you understand both sides of this, and that in a B2B sale, it's multifaceted, it's multi-layered, and you have to understand sort of each person's role in the selling or in the buying process, and what you need to explain to them to help them understand that they are in fact the right fit. If they are, again, we're not into like selling people things that they don't need or that you're not well equipped to serve, to provide. So just to be super clear, that's not our vibe.
Yeah. You have said that one of the biggest ways that you scare your clients away is by leading with urgency and overwhelm. What is
Yes.
a better way to create urgency that still builds trust and safety?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I'm sitting here thinking through, like, all manner of like icky selling situations where you know that like the salesperson needs to make their quota or whatever, and they will tell you anything to get you to buy. And that is just so icky and repulsive and disgusting. And we've all probably been in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or whatever, where the other party is desperate and clingy and love bombing. And so it's really, really unattractive. Like our lizard brains way back there in the back are like run the other way. And so it's the same thing in sales. And we want to not do that. So tell the truth, have a long reputation of truth telling and calling out bullshit when you see it. And so have a reputation of integrity. If you don't have a reputation of integrity, it's going to be really, really, really difficult for someone to believe you on a sales call. And so tell the truth. If you only have 5 spots in a program, then don't say you have 1 left, right? Just tell the truth and do a better job of explaining your value proposition and fishing in the right ponds to get the right ICP, match made to your solution. So, yeah, just tell the truth and do a better job of explaining value outcomes and transformation.
Yeah. Inside of our accelerator program, how do we help our clients build a sales system that helps them reduce pressure and increase conversions?
Yeah, I mean, the whole MRR method is kind of built to solve for that very thing, among other things. But again, clarity around who they are, who their ICP is, the methodology they use to get their ICP from problem space to solution space. We make sure that we are solving painful, pervasive, urgent, expensive problems that need big, fat, emergency room level prescribed pain pills, not vitamins, right? And so I'm sure everybody's heard that analogy at one time or another. So you have to solve something that is painful enough, because you could have something valuable to a specific audience, but if it's like a total discretionary purchase or something, it's never going to hit both that urgent and important part of the Eisenhower matrix that will move someone to action. So we help our clients fish in those ponds, like define the ICP and find them online, and then combine with partners and demonstrate the efficacy of what you're offering through social proof. And you help just by ask the right questions, like where we're setting up very specific sales systems. I do sales coaching one-on-one with each of our accelerator participants, and so over time we are refining, really honing in on what the process is, and then each of our clients end up with like a very dialed in customer journey that's supported with technology and AI, and standard operating procedures and all those things. And ultimately, again, we're just helping them ask the right questions so that they can find if there's a match or not with the person on the other end of the line.
Yeah, sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for joining our live stream. Be sure to follow us for more tips and insights on building a successful recurring revenue business. Until next time.
Thanks.